Call us, email us, tweet, or Facebook us to join the conversation. We want to hear from you.
Before the break, we asked our studio audience, would you risk your personal safety to defend democracy? Boy, it was kind of close. It's a very risky thing. 59% said yes. Well, best-selling author Marina Nemet has given a voice to the shocking price people do pay to protest the loss of their human rights. She tells that story in her book, Prisoner of Tehran, and now in After Tehran. Marina then explains the price of reclaiming her life from 2 years, 2 months, and 12 days of Iranian torture and deprivation. When you were released from your life sentence, you went home, had dinner with your family. Tell us what that first day back at home was like.
Well, it was nice to take a shower in my own bathroom and not with 30 other people, watching on. So I took a shower, got into clean clothes, sat at the dinner table, and my parents talked about the weather. My mom and dad were there, my boyfriend, and a couple of family friends. And I looked at them. All that time in prison, I wanted to go home and just pick it up where I had left it, to become the girl I had been before. And the moment I sat at that table, I realized I'm not that person, and this is not my world, and I have no idea how to get back into it. And the lead that they gave me was that, forget about it, it never happened, move on. Nobody wants to talk, don't you dare.
You never told anyone for 20 years.
Nobody
They didn't know
wanted to
about the rapes. They didn't know about the torture. Okay, we're going to get into that in a moment, but with $200, you and Andre, your pre-prison teenage sweetheart, you get married, you've been married now, and you leave with $200 to Canada. You bring your parents here. You call Canada Planet Canada. Why?
We arrived at Pearson, and my brother, who was already living in Canada, he was a Canadian citizen, he picked us up, and we drove. And there were fields after fields after fields. It was August, it was summertime. It was green and beautiful, and the sky was blue, and it seemed endless. It just went on. And I looked around me, it looked so nice and peaceful, and I thought, this cannot be planet Earth, because this doesn't look like anything I have ever seen. And then my brother had told me, I live in Toronto, and I looked around me, there were just fields and horses. And I said to him, where's Toronto? I said, don't worry, we're getting there. And then there was a row of houses, and there were people were happy, and they were smiling, and they were nice on the street, and they wouldn't pick on me because of what I was wearing, and they wouldn't be nasty to me at the grocery store because I didn't look the right way or I didn't say the right thing. And that was why I really felt like an alien.
And you slipped into your alien life in Planet Canada. You're working at Swiss Chalet, you're building a life, your husband's working. But for 20 years, you kept silent. Even Andre, your husband, did not know what happened in prison. But you hit a point and you stopped being able to sleep. Why did it become so important to remember?
After Evin, I think what happened was that I created a fictional Marina. This fictional Marina had never gone to prison, had never experienced rape and torture, and I wanted to believe that that fictional character, a mother, a wife, a normal person, was real. And then the other person was not. The other person was fiction. And the past catches up with you. So there were little things that happened that reminded me of the past here and there. And then my mother became ill and she died. And it was at her funeral, after her funeral at my brother's house, that I went to sit down next to my father. Then my mom and dad had been married for more than 50 years, and they loved each other. They were very close, and my dad was really distraught. Now, my dad is the kind of person who's always in control of everything, but his wife had died, and he was really distraught. So I went to sit down next to him, and he looked up at me and said, Marina, your mother forgave you before she died. And I looked at him, and I knew what he meant. He meant they forgave me for going to prison and ruining everybody's life. But I wanted to hear it. So I said, I opened my mouth to say, what do you mean? And what came out was a horrible scream, this terrible shout that I couldn't control. And then there were about 100 people there at my brother's house, and they all took steps back. And they were staring at me, and their staring at me made me even angrier because I wanted people to talk, and they wouldn't, and then I couldn't breathe. So I'm trying to tell them, I can't breathe, call 911. And I couldn't say it because I was so busy screaming.
Through all of that, the recovery of memories, surviving the abuse in prison, you have held on to a belief that Jesus Christ says you are not alone in this world. How did your relationship with God change through all of this incredible process?
Before prison, of course, I had read about Jesus Christ. I had studied catechism. I had gone to catechism classes. I had studied everything that every Christian child would study. And it was a story that was being told to me until I entered the world of the prison. And here was a place where you would really be put to the test. And when I broke in the torture room and I was ready to sell my soul to the devil, that was when I understood. Because I had always thought, how is it that St. Peter said, when they asked him, when they had taken Jesus, he said he didn't know him 3 times. And I had always wondered, but how is that possible? Like, why would you say that? And then I was there. And I was ready to say I didn't know Jesus. I was ready to say anything. I was ready to do anything. And that was when I realized how difficult it is to stand up for what you believe in. The only person to look up to was, of course, was Jesus, because he was tortured and he was executed. So we had been in the same boat. And another thing that I had never understood and I had always questioned was that why on the cross did he say, Father, Father, why have you forsaken me? And I got it. I really, really got it. And when you lose everything and you realize that on your own you have no merit whatsoever, that you have betrayed everything you are, you have betrayed God, you have betrayed yourself, you have betrayed your family, you have betrayed your religion, what more can you do that is just horrible? And that was when I actually found that the person of Jesus on the cross, that's the only place I can go to become whole again. But it is not because of my merit, of my strength. It is his, not mine. And it was through that discovery that I started feeling really comfortable with who I was. And that was the moment, that was the moment of faith for me. I think for me, faith is the acceptance that I am nothing, absolutely. And there's no better place than a political prison, tied up to a torture bed, being raped, whatever, all of that, to discover that.
Marina, you now are on the Canadian board of Christians Speaking Out Against Torture. We're going to find out about that when we come back.
Call us, email us, tweet, or Facebook us to join the conversation. We want to hear from you.
Well, today we've looked at the price being paid to speak out for human rights with Marina Nemat. She is with the Canadian Board of Actions by Christians for the Abolition of Torture. Marina, Pastor Yusuf Nadahani is still in Iranian prison just for saying, I don't want my children educated by the state in Islam. Even President Obama has appealed for a stay of his execution. What do you think his future will be?
Anything. He could be executed tomorrow, and I'm sure he has been tortured. But if there's enough international noise coming toward Iran, he could be released next week. So it's basically up to every single one of us to make enough noise for the government of Iran to realize that we are watching. And then, you never know, they might actually let him go.
Thank you for making noise, as you call it, and thank you for showing us how we can all be part of either writing through your organization, Amnesty International. We've left those links up on our website so you can learn more on helping those who speak out for freedom. Send us your feedback on today's program, and we'd be happy to help you understand how you can be part of speaking out for those who need a voice for freedom. I'm Lorna Duick. Thanks for watching. Join us next week as we explore life beyond the headlines.